Bosporus Germans are those ethnic Germans living and settled in Istanbul since the second half of the 19th century. The first generation came a few decades before and especially during the three political visits of Kaiser Wilhelm II to Constantinople, the capital city of the Ottoman Empire. The Taksim German Hospital was opened in 1852. Most of the initial German settlers in Istanbul were craftsmen, industrialists and soldiers. Baron Kolmar Freiherr von der Goltz, also known as Goltz Pasha, who was the chief advisor of the Ottoman army for many years, and General Otto Lehmann von Sanders, who was a successful commander of the Ottoman army during World War I, may be the most famous of them in the military field. Some of the most beautiful Bosporus villas, such as the Kruppenhuber Villa, or the German Fountain and Haydarpasa railway station in Istanbul, are still a relict of the German influence. In the late Ottoman Empire, most of the German engineers and craftsmen who worked at the construction site of the Haydarpasa train station later established a small German neighborhood in the nearby Yıldırımeni quarter of the Kadıköy district, on the Asian side of Istanbul. Previously, the German architect August Jackman had designed the Çerkezi train station on the European side of Istanbul, and the nearby Deutsche Orient Bank headquarters in the Çerkezi quarter, within the boundaries of the Eminönü district. During the last year of Chancellor Otto von Bismarck in office, both of these train stations would play an important role in the Berlin-Istanbul-Baghdad railway project, which would enhance the economic and political ties between the German and Ottoman empires, and allow Germany to bypass the British-controlled Suez Canal for reaching the lucrative markets and resources of the Orient by extending the railway line further south to the port of Basra on the Persian Gulf. There were also many Germans in Istanbul who supported the Young Turk movement and nurtured its relationship with the SPD, as well as the German liberals around Friedrich Naumann. From the circle around Naumann came Ernest Jack, purveyor of Young Turk propaganda. Jack, however, did not live in Constantinople for too long and can't be considered a Bosporus German in the true sense. Another visitor to Constantinople during the First World War was Theodore Hughes, a friend of Naumann and Jack, who designed the German Cultural Center in Constantinople and later became the first federal president of Germany from 1949 until 1959. Active Social Democrats in Constantinople included Alexander Pavus and Dr. Friedrich Schrader. In his book, Flüchtlingsreise, Schrader describes the preliminary end of the German community in Istanbul, when, according to Article 19 of the ceasefire agreement between the Ottoman Empire and the Entente powers, Germans and Austrians were to be expelled within 1 month. Germans were detained on the steamer Corcovado, formerly the swimming HQ of the German Mittelmeer Division. Some, like Schrader, tried to avoid detention and subsequent deportation by fleeing to Germany via Odessa and the war-torn Ukraine. Some Germans could stay, for example Paul Longy, the master of the Sultan's music, with his immediate family, who were however deported shortly after. Longy was buried in Istanbul in a state funeral with great pomp, as one of the last major events of the dying Ottoman Sultanate. 20th century. The second generation came as refugees fleeing the Third Reich. The former mayor of Berlin Ernst Reuter and his son Edzard, later the president of Daimler Chrysler, may be some of the best known. Austrian architect Clemens Holzmeister was also effectively in exile in Turkey. Among them were also many poorer Germans who lived in Anatolia in poverty and despair. They called themselves Heimatlos, according to a stamp the Turkish authorities printed in the passports. 21st century. Currently there is a third generation of various expatriates, supporting the Turkish textiles, construction and automotive sectors as well as other industries, or simply enjoying the Aegean and Mediterranean coasts of Turkey, or married to Turks. One of the most famous members of the current German community in Turkey is the football trainer Christoph Daum. The Deutsche Schule Istanbul and St. George's Austrian High School are well-attended German-language schools in the city. Istanbul Lisesi is a Turkish high school which teaches in German as the primary foreign language and is likewise recognized as a Deutsche Auslandsschule by Germany. Istanbulites with West European roots are in general called Levantines. Apart from the Sephardic Jews who migrated to the Ottoman Empire from the Iberian Peninsula following the Spanish Inquisition in 1492 and eventually became Turkish citizens, and the local Greeks whose numbers have dwindled due to the often tense political disputes between Turkey and Greece, and in part because of economic hardships. There is also a small number of Polish families organized in Polonskoye, a village on the Asian side of the Bosporus which is famous for its lush green nature and dairy products.